Hi friends, welcome back to another video/episode of the James Red Podcast. This might be a rather short one, this might be a rather long one. I just know I have things to say. I want to talk about the creative process, and within that, dedication to a system of balance, to the things that happen outside of the act of creating, the things that nourish you and feed you mentally, physically, spiritually, and the importance of maintaining a structure and system around that to help you better create. So I came across the writing routine of a Japanese writer named Haruki Murakami. And his routine is extremely disciplined, and it speaks to what I'm trying to touch on today. He would get up at 4 a.m., and he would work for 5 to 6 hours. In the afternoon, he would run 6 miles or swim 1,500 meters, or both, and he would read and listen to music. And then he would go to bed at 9. That was his routine. He would keep this routine every day without variation. And he would mesmerize himself in the process to reach a deeper state of mind. In other words, he would become obsessed with the process of developing himself. One of the reasons why we have trouble becoming obsessed with doing things that are difficult to us, challenging ourselves on a daily basis to get to where we want to be from where we are now, is because we had not learned how to become mesmerized and obsessed with the process of self-development. This is something I'm trying to pursue every single day because there's an addictive quality to it, but you can't get to it without momentum. This is different than the daily pleasures of life, which can so easily be achieved. You have to put in time and effort and dedication and frustration, and have have some sort of to-do list that tells you what you should be doing right now. Have some way to orient yourself where it pushes you beyond your personal selfishness to not do the things to help yourself develop. In his words, he says that the repetition itself becomes the important thing, the act of doing the thing over and over and over. And he says that physical strength is as necessary as artistic sensitivity, which I find to be very interesting. So, a lot of his routine involves all of the things around the act of creating. What I try to do is I try to find all my weak spots, the things that make me feel less happy, make me feel unenthusiastic about creating. And I kind of refuse to believe that the act of creating itself is the thing that tires me out and makes me unhappy. I don't think that's true. I think that when you fail to nourish yourself, feed yourself the living water of that fuels your ability to create and do work, and when you don't do the things that make you remember what life feels like, creating gets harder and harder and harder. So this is immensely important. You may notice that his structure is not just about grinding. It's not just about not getting any sleep, spending all of your time killing yourself to try to achieve way too many goals in a given day. Some people have different thresholds for that, but I think that everyone consistently needs to engage in ways of re-nourishing themselves. The good thing is that if you're doing what you love, you are in fact nourishing yourself. But there's a difference in the nourishment of finding what life feels like, doing things that aren't designed to create a productive end, and nourishment through work, which will also provide some feelings of feeling what life is like and enjoying things. Now, what also comes out of this is your ability, is inspiration. You're able to, when you go, for example, you hear people say that the best thing you can do is go out in nature, be amongst the trees, wander around. And I think a huge piece of this is because it actually opens up your mind more. You sort of get, when you're at your desk every day, or you're doing your daily routine of creation, which just grinds at you, pounds at you, even though you enjoy it, makes you, it puts you into this narrow focus. You need to open it up sometimes. You need to open your mind, and by going into a different environment, your mind reacts to that, opens up, and remembers why you're doing what you're doing, comes up with new ideas, all sorts of wonderful things. This is a way to inspire yourself. Another way to inspire yourself is watch and engage with inspiring things. And I think it's important to have daily inspiring things that you're in a structural way taking in. You're feeding yourself just like you would your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner. But I think it's also very important to have these enormously inspiring events, right? Your favorite musical artist is a good example. Maybe you go see some sort of theater function. You sit down, you dedicate all of your attention to this thing for just a little bit. You forget about everything else. Things that inspire you in a unique way that you don't do often. Those are incredibly important too. All of these things, schedule this into your routine. I'm not perfect at this. I'm not trying to speak from a seat of authority. I'm just speaking from what I understand about what can be tremendously helpful to us as creatives. Now, I think it's important to feed yourself consistently and methodically, right? To make your routine encompass all of the things that are important to you. Meaning, don't sort of half-mindedly go watch Netflix over here. Know why you're watching Netflix over here. Let your daily calendar encompass everything that you're up to, so that you're being intentional about every step. And you relaxing and doing nothing, for example, you reading a book if you're into that kind of thing, you staring out the window or cooking, doing something that's playing a video game, doing something that's just seemingly unproductive. Well, that's a lie. It's not unproductive if you do it thoughtfully. And so one way to do it thoughtfully is to work it into your to-do list. And I believe that you make the hard things in life less hard by nourishing yourself. Physically, mentally, spiritually, every otherly, coffeely, mostly coffeely. So that's it. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye.